And welcome back to the Cincinnati Reds franchise mode here on MLB The Show 24. And the Reds are back here in the month of June, sitting about 10 games over 500. And as soon as we start off the video, we run right into an Elly De La Cruz injury. And with Marte batting 180, I think this is a move we can make. Now, I didn't understand why the Orioles got Orlando Arcia in the offseason. They have Gunnar Henderson, they have Jackson Holliday. There's no need for Arcia on this team. I'm going to send them 3 prospects for Orlando Arcia to take over as the new starting third baseman on this team. We're going to send Marte down to AAA, and then, of course, Elly De La Cruz will play short. In the time being, in the De La Cruz injury, we will have Esteury Ruiz play shortstop. He can do it. He plays outfield mostly, but he is capable of playing shortstop as well. So that's what we're going to do. The big prize for the Orioles in this trade is the third baseman in Braden Taylor, but you got to give up at least something to get a guy of the caliber of Orlando Arcia. So attaboy Arcia, we're going to add him to the squad. I think it's a trade that makes sense, and Arcia brings a lot of power to the plate as well. He can play on the corner at third as well. I don't like him playing short because he's just simply not fast enough, but at third base, Arcia really works for this team, and that's what we're going to do, adding Orlando Arcia to the Cincinnati Reds. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to send down Noelvi Marte to AAA. I know he's a 78 overall, but like, the guy's just not producing. 185 is unacceptable. We have to send him down, and we're gonna keep it going right now with Valenzuela as the 5th starter of this team. I think he just deserves a little bit more time as a starter. We'll see and really reevaluate him as the season progresses, but we're losing games. Don't get me wrong. We are losing games on the Chicago Cubs. We are about, what, 6 games back now of them, or was it 10 or 6? It's 10 and a half. My goodness. This is bad. We're about 6 back of the wild card, 5. We are losing pace on some of these teams because we're just not winning games. We get swept by the Mariners, who win the first 2 against St. Louis, dropped the 3rd. This Arizona series, lose. Got another game, lose. And we get swept. So we're 1 game under 500. Max Fried comes back from injury. We win a 1-0 shutout. Shout out to Valenzuela pitching a shutout in that game. Probably his best performance as a major league pitcher just yet. But now here we go. We sit at 45-45 for today's gameplay against the Colorado Rockies, who admittedly are not very good. They're 30-59, but of course I always got to stop at Coors Field when it does happen because games here are usually fun. But yeah, through 90 games, the Reds are 45-45. And it really brings attention to the issue at this point. Is this team really a contender this year? I thought we got better, but we've dealt with multiple injuries. Jeimer Candelario's back now, but we've dealt with so many injuries this season. Is this team really capable of competing this year? We'll have to see, because we got to see at the trade deadline, how far back are we? You know, how much room are we gonna have to make up? And if we should, who do we trade, right? Because we have pieces on this team. Do we go complete, wipe house and really just regroup in the offseason? I don't know. We have prospects who need to come up as well. So we'll figure things out once we get to the deadline. TJ Friedl, though, going to lead things off here against the Rockies. And Peter Lambert with a double, but then Matt McLain going to hit one on the ground right to the third baseman. And, of course, not Chris Bryant, it's Sterling Thompson tonight. And here is the Reds lineup. It goes Friedl, McLain, Arcia, Peterson, Candelario, De La Cruz, Benson, Stevenson, and Steer. Here is Orlando Arcia. Oh, man. He doesn't like that legend difficulty slider, and Jock Peterson is just going to get under almost a dead center of the plate fastball. So not a good inning for the Reds. You get a leadoff double, and then TJ Friedl just does not move. Here comes our best pitcher, Max Fried. He is regressing quickly. He has not come back well from the injury. From that small injury, he went from an 85 overall down to an 81 overall. Do we move Max Fried at the deadline? I understand he brings us, some good innings when he is on the mound, but do we try to salvage our signing in Fried by trying to move on from him at the deadline? Now, I know he just struck out the side, and that is potential trade bait because, hey, this guy can still go this year, and we did sign him to a 2-year contract, but my mindset for this is maybe you let Fried go, you call up Kumar Rocker or Rhett Lauder to fill his shoes, maybe give Brandon Williamson another chance, and then from there, we look to go back in free agency next year and really just look to reload. Another guy we could trade at Jeimer Candelario. I understand Candy's fun, we've had him for a while, he was really good in the postseason last year, he's batting .255 this year, he could help out a contender if we are not that at the trade deadline. And I know you don't want to regress from being a postseason team and a team that was 1 game away from the World Series to a team team that's selling at the deadline, but I wouldn't consider it a complete sell. I would just say we're selling some of the veterans on this team. Like, we would not get rid of Friedel, not McLean. I think we'd probably flip Arcia if we don't think we can win this year. Arcia does have another year on his contract, but I think we'd move on from him. Jock Peterson we definitely move on from as well. And then from there, I think we'd keep everyone else, right? The pitching staff would remain somewhat the same, I think, just with Fried gone, and we just keep looking to build for the future. Because there's guys in this team, I mean, maybe we wouldn't trade Joey Votto out of respect. As Max Fried, by the way, shout out to him, 9 up, 9 down against the Colorado Rockies. But the problem is, we are already in the 4th inning, and we have not scored. Matt McLean gonna hit one to left field. Yes, we were playing at elevation. Yes, we were playing in Denver. Yes, we were playing at Coors Field. And finally, attaboy Arcia gonna rip one into deep left. It's gonna be a ground rule double for him. Arcia is gonna be on second base with a 1-out extra base knock, and Jock Peterson will follow by striking out on a fastball in. 2 down for the Candyman, and Candelario gonna ground one right to second and straight to Ryan McMahon as we go into the bottom of the 4th with Max Stone leading things off, and he'll hit that one to left center field to Spencer Steer. So again, it would not be a complete selling of the team, but it would just be the veterans who could move on to postseason contenders as wow. First hit given up for Max Fried is a solo shot into deep right. This is how this field plays. Zach Veen. His first year in the major leagues, the former first-round pick, I believe, number 9 overall, number 6, I think he was in the top 10. Zach Veen goes 380 feet into deep right field. It's his 7th of the year, putting the Rockies on top 1-0. Nolan Jones tries to crush one as well, but that one's going to be caught up there by TJ Friedel. 2 gone. Ryan McMahon, the batter on the 2-2 pitch, got him. Fried locks him up on a slider away, but again, the Reds gotta start putting some runs on the board. Down 1-0 in Colorado is ridiculous. Ellie De La Cruz walks. Will Benson the batter. I don't know why we swung, but it's fine. De La Cruz will swipe second. We've got still no outs for Benson, trying to move him over, and he does exactly that. Benson gets De La Cruz to third with 1 out for the 8th spot, Tyler Stevenson, and we are tied no more. Stevenson, deep left field. You can kiss that ball goodbye. Stevenson makes it 2-1. The catcher always got that sneaky power at the bottom of the lineup. 458 feet, it got up there in the bleachers and left. Stevenson hits his 9th of the season, making this a 2-1 game and giving the Reds their first lead of tonight's ball game, and that will do it for Lambert. In comes the righty Antonio Senzatella, 3.87 ERA on the season for him, and he'll start things off by getting Spencer Steer to fly out into right field. But like, even a guy like Tyler Stevenson, I think I'd keep, and I think we'd be somewhat competitive with the names we'd still have. I think we're just getting rid of Jock Peterson. It's TJ Friedel right there with the 2-out single. We're probably gonna get rid of Jock. You get rid of J-Mare, but you just let some of the younger guys play. I had to send down Christian Encarnacion Strand with all of these moves as well, simply because CES is not producing. Same with Noel V. Marte, and I say this every time when I bring up Christian Encarnacion Strand. The guy has not gone up in overall since we started this franchise. He's still in the 60s. So unfortunately, as I wouldn't do this in real life, but in game, I might move CES as well, because he's never going to get, I don't know, higher than a 73, I think. And he just doesn't, he doesn't progress at all in this game. His hitting stats are 50s and 60s across the board. It's not great. His fielding is all right, but he just does not, get better. I don't know what to do with him, really. It's just that's an MLB The Show thing and not, anything about CES. His swing's all right in the game. I've never been, CES has never been my favorite in this game. I didn't even play him in the playoffs. Obviously, he wasn't even on the roster, but I made an emphasis this season on putting him in the lineup every single day. But when the guy's batting 220, it's just hard, and he's just not getting better in overall. So we're into the bottom of the 6th. Max Fried doing his thing. He's dealing. And I'm not saying, again, his overall may be down, but he's still able to go out here and really excel against a team like the Colorado Rockies, who are just not looking to compete this year. If the Rockies drop this game, they'll be 30 games under 500, right? We've played 90 games. They've played 89. If they lose tonight, they're 30-60. But it feels like the Reds should be beating this team by more. It's only 2-1. Again, we are at Coors Field. One swing can tie this game up because the Reds just can't get insurance runs right now. Spencer Steer with 2 outs. Hits that one into right field. Steer's a guy who hits lefties very well. But again, if we have more depth, I'd like to make Steer a platoon guy and only hit left-handed pitching. Because against rights, Steer really struggles, man. He's been struggling this season. Max Fried's gone 6 1/3. Nolan Jones comes up on the 3-1 pitch and he loses him on that fastball up. Tying run to first, go ahead run to the plate. It's Ryan McMahon. He walks. First and second, 1 out, and now we bring in the bullpen. Here comes Chris Martin. He has not replicated those Boston years. He's got an ERA of 5 this season. He's another guy that would probably get moved in trade, and there you go. Right here, though, he gets the double play ball of Brendan Rodgers, gets us out of the jam, and the Reds stay up 2-1 going into the top of the 8th. And TJ Friedl, have yourself a day. Another base knock. He's hit a double into the left field corner. He's hit one in the right field corner. Picked up a single as well. Friedel's got 3 hits and he's standing on second base. Can we get him to home? As Matt McLean gonna drive that one to center field. It will be deep enough to tag Friedel from second to third, and all we gotta do is put a ball in play to give ourselves another insurance run. Here comes Orlando Arcia, gonna hit one to right field. There you go. Arcia's second extra base knock of the game makes this 3-1. Hey, Arcia's doing well. If we do decide to keep competing this season, Arcia will be a piece looking, that's going to be looked at a lot here. He tries to stretch it into the 3, goes back to second, gets tagged out. What you gonna do? Jock Peterson comes up, hits one on the ground, and that'll do it in the top of the 8th. But again, the Reds get another one. 3-1 is our score, with Chris Martin staying out there, and he will strike out Montero on that slider away. Sterling Thompson on the 3-2 hits one on the ground. Ellie De La Cruz, though, showcased that arm. He's got him. 2 gone in the inning now for the 8th spot in Drew Romo, the catcher, who is switch hitting, hits that ball into right center field, and there is Will Benson. We move on to the top of the 9th. Here comes Jeimer Candelario, and the Rockies are really letting Senzatello work tonight. Candy hits one deep into right field. It stays fair, barely, and Candy has himself a double. So in the matter of an inning or two, Friedel doubles into right field. You got Arcia doubling into right field, and now Jeimer Candelario as well. De La Cruz strikes out, but drop third strike allows Candy to move to third. So hey, the Reds can get this lead to 3 if they can just get a guy across here. Benson walks, that's fine. First and second, 1 out. Stevenson's already homered in this game, and of course here he's going to ground right into a double play. Okay, I think 2 should be good enough. Again, we are in Denver, but here we go. Here comes the closer. He's familiar somewhat with this NL West park. It's Camilo Doval, 22 saves in the season, 2.27 ERA. He'll get Brenton Doyle to start things off as that one's hit into right field. By the way, the Reds have only given up 1 hit. Is that solo home run by Zach Veen in right field. Veen will hit this inning, but he will not hit with anyone on the bases as Doval strikes out Stone. Here comes Veen, putting one on the ground. Matt McLean to first. That's your ball game. The Cincinnati Reds go to Coors Field. They win the first game of this series 1-0 thanks to a dominant pitching performance out of Martin Valenzuela. And game number 2 of this series to go back above 500. Max Fried goes 6 1/3, only giving up 1 hit. And Camilo Doval and Chris Martin do the job, shutting the door out the bullpen and not allowing a single base runner. The Reds were dominant with the pitching tonight. They win 3-1. They'll look for the sweep tomorrow night back here in Colorado. So folks, thank y'all for watching episode number 30 of the Cincinnati Reds franchise mode here on MLB The Show 24. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.